Take it that's a yes. Don't all speak at once. Good morning. I'm calling the order of the support services. I hope all had a nice weekend, and all the mothers out there had a wonderful Mother's Day. First of all, I'd like to get organized here. I guess I've had all morning. I'd like to have a motion to approve our minutes for our prior committee meeting. I have a show of hands.
So moved.
Okay. Amanda, I'm just gonna go with you. Give me the nod that we got enough. So, okay, we're good to go on that. So today on the agenda, we have two items. So I'm going to start right off with the Board of Elections with a request to
Good morning, Brad.
I'll go with Bill and Beth. Will be able to answer the brief is into what's going on. So,
Well, we're sorry that it came so quickly and so fast, but we weren't made aware of this grant until last week. We got a call from the State Board of Elections that the federal government had found some money and that Warren County was going to be awarded $86,542.73 to help with COVID expenses. It can be used for man hours, it can be used for personnel, it can be used for equipment.
PPE equipment.
We know for one fact that we've estimated right now mailing out of the applications for the primary are going to be right in the range of $40,000 postage wise, and having the company do it for us. Granted, we saved some money back in March or April. We didn't have a primary, but that's going to go away. It was a nice report to give you, but it's going to go away. So this money's going to help us in the county get it through. So all we're looking for, I've got the application all filled out. It's actually in Mary's hands to review. We've been in touch with the treasurer's office. Rob Lynch has set us up 2 revenue accounts to put it in. It'll be put in our miscellaneous appropriations account, depending on what we purchase with it, where it'll go, to what account. So we're just looking for permission to go ahead and apply and accept this grant once it comes down. There was a 20% match that was made and met by the state of New York. So there's no out-of-pocket fund directly from the county at that point. Everything is ready to go.
well, does anybody have any questions? Well, in that case, I'd like to call a vote for the acceptance of the authorization to accept the A Cares. It's HAVA grant for the amount of $86,542.73.
Hey, Brad, it's Mike. I'll make a motion to put that on the floor.
Oh, thank you. Thanks,
I'll
Mike.
second.
Thing on your A game. All right, so we have a first and a second. So can I guess, can I call a vote?
Aye.
Aye. We got enough to move on? Okay. So I guess the second thing that we have to do is we have to create a budget code. Well, actually, did anybody have a move to put A, B, and C together? Or do you want to do them all separately? I mean, in order to accept this money, we have to have a code and the full title amount for this expense.
Rob, yeah, I'm sorry, Brett. Rob has designated 2 revenue accounts for the CARES Act HAVA grant. One account, he has to divide, he explained to us, he has to divvy them up state and federal wise. For the
Gotcha.
for the A1450-3205, which is a COVID-19 state, is $17,309.55. And for the 1450-4405 COVID federal side of it is $69,243.18. This will all be going into our miscellaneous account, in which we'll have to, whether we use personnel, whether we buy equipment, whether we use ballots, whatever we do, we'll have to move it to that account out of the miscellaneous account as we move along to where we need the money. That's basically where we're at with that one right now.
All right, in that case, so let me call a vote for the appropriation code for the A1450-439 for the miscellaneous fees expenses. Do I have any questions? And I'll call a vote. Everybody
Need a
in favor?
motion and a second on that one, Mr. McGowan.
Pardon?
You don't have a motion and second for the budget amendment.
All right, can
I'll
I
make
have
a
a
motion.
Thanks, Supervisor Driscoll. Do I have a second?
Mr. Bruno.
Thank you, Supervisor Bruno. All right, so I'll call the vote for the appropriation code. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, we have a motion. So that's approved. All right, let's go to C. I need to call this to the floor for the.
Mr. McGowan? Excuse me, Mr. McGowan, that budget amendment that you approved, that was to appropriate the funds to the revenue code. There's no more action on this agenda.
Okay, so, Amanda, thank you very much for coming in today and keeping me together.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right, so you're good.
Yeah, we'll
Beth
thank
and Bill.
Al. Yeah, we'll try to keep we'll try to keep you informed the best we can. It's changing every day here. So we'll stay in touch with you. Brad, as chairman, we'll try to keep you updated. And if any of the other supervisors got any questions, feel free to give Beth or I a ring, and we'll try to answer your questions the best we can.
All right, Bill. I also would like to thank you too. And like I said, don't ever hesitate to call us on the last minute, especially me, if you need something, because I know how the state's working, and the reason we called this is that we had a deadline by the 15th, and we really needed to get this on before Friday's meeting. So,
Right, we have to answer. We have to respond to them by the 20th, whether we'll accept the grant or not. And that's why we asked you to kind of call the emergency meeting and get it done for us by Friday for the board meeting. We appreciate it.
no worry, there's no I in team, and thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, I see Jeffrey. He's shivering with anticipation for his first Zoom video with us here. So, Jeff, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you. How's it going, guys?
So, all going good. Now, Jeff has put in a request, and he could go into further details. Was basically for a cell phone budget. He has brought over his cell phone from DPW, but unfortunately, he can't use it because it's not in the budget item. No, he can use it, but he needs a budget item. So I'll let him to explain more. I've talked to Mike and Ryan how this process works, and who would thought it would be so difficult to bring a cell phone with you from another department? But as it is, Herb did not have a cell phone. So and Jeff is bringing his over from DPW to make it easier to contact him, take pictures, and do his job more efficiently. So take it away, Jeff.
Well, like Brad said, I've had this cell phone since probably 8 years now. I had it at Building Grounds, and I used it there quite a bit. It just makes me more efficient at this job, especially right now I'm using it to Zoom. This meeting is actually on this county cell phone. But mainly I use it for emails. I can access my emails anytime I want, late at night, anytime. I really like it. It's very convenient for emails. Like I said, I brought it over. I asked Ryan for permission to transfer it to Weights and Measures, and he said it was fine to do. I didn't realize there wouldn't be much money for it in my budget. I do see a little money in the salaries that to transfer over to the telephone budget. It's only $420 a year, not much money. And just something I like to have for the department, and it makes the job easier and more convenient. That's about it.
Okay, one of the things that I did notice, you did ask for 350, now we're up to 420.
Well, yeah, well, the 350 I already paid out of the regular telephone budget code. I paid for $54 or something like that already. So for the remaining year, I only would need the $350 for the rest of the year for the cell phone.
All right, thank you. So do I, can I call this to the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Supervisor Driscoll. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Supervisor Hogan. So I will call this for a vote. Everybody in favor, say aye, give me thumbs, a nod.
Aye.
Amanda, good to go? Okay, so moved. So, is there any other questions that any of you might have for support services for this beautiful morning? Good morning, Mr. Moore. Do you have a question?
I just wanted to thank Jeff. He's our newest department head. He's doing a great job. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. You are doing a great job with COVID. Absolutely.
And Jeff, if you could, for me, if you could give me your cell phone number so I can get a hold of you. I've tried to call you a few times on the office phone there. So I'm not good at leaving messages. I'm a tongue twister. All right. But thank you so much. And so there are no questions. So I will call support services meeting adjourned, and I will be heading it over to Supervisor Frazier, because she's up next. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGowan. Amanda, do we have to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
No, we can get that at the next meeting.
Okay, very good. Okay, I don't see much as far as what's on my agenda. I'm assuming it's just to accept this CARES grant in the amount of $86,542.73. Is that correct?
You're approving the Board of Elections budget amendment and the weights and measures transfer of funds.
Okay, so we'll do the first one then with the Board of Elections. Would someone like to make the motion to approve that?
I will, Edna.
Okay, a second to that. Supervisor Hogan, any questions?
I'm sorry, Ms. Hogan is not on the finance committee.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize she raised her hand. So, okay, someone want to second that motion?
I will.
Supervisor Simpson. All right, any questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. And the second one, Amanda, was to approve the weights and measures request.
Yes.
Okay, so would someone like to bring that motion to the floor?
Sure, Edna. I've got it.
All right, Supervisor Bramer, a second to that.
I'll second that.
All right, Supervisor Stroud, any questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Thank you. We're all very concerned this time at what's happening with budgets and savings and all that type of thing. So I've asked Supervisor Garrity to give us a little overview of what's been happening or what direction we're heading in. I think all of you are anxious to hear about that. So I'm going to turn this over to Supervisor Garrity at this point.
Okay, can you hear me okay, Ever?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, questions have been raised about what the budget officer and the management team have been doing about the impending impact on the county budget due to coronavirus. First, I want to thank County Administrator Ryan Moore, Chairman Frank Thomas, Warren County Department heads for putting together a 2020 austerity plans for their departments. This action was requested in March by the County Administrator, and all 32 department heads and their financial staff have been working hard at it ever since, with leaving no stone unturned. This isn't a task you can do willy-nilly. It takes time and it needs to be thorough and professional. I believe today the departments have sent in detailed of what potential cuts could be made to the budget if necessary. You may ask why I use the term necessary. It's because we don't know the extent of how much revenue we will lose. The state is facing a budget deficit between 7 billion to 8 billion before the virus hit. If you remember correctly, I cautioned members of the DPW committee not to be too quick to add money to the 2020 paving budget. That being said, we have identified between $4 and $5 million in potential savings. Some of the items we've already talked about: hiring freeze, already enacted by the board, though our process that we adapt every year in the rules of the board, which gives our administrator, then our committee chairs, the ability to block vacant positions from being filled. Travel approvals, eliminate travel approvals in the second and third quarter, reevaluate them in the fourth quarter. Purchase orders and contracts, purchase only what is needed and be judicious in the contracts and how and which contracts are executed. The committee and the full board authorize the execution of contracts, and we need to be disciplined about this. Usage of contingency and appropriated fund balance. No transfer for the contingency fund or appropriate fund balance for the second and third quarter unless necessary for the COVID-19 response. Protect public welfare or to support our vital operations of county government. 5, continued analysis of personnel and efficiencies. We will continue to look at all departments in terms of the way they are organized, staffed to increase efficiencies. I'm sure that through support services, Doug will take on this proposal. Rachel can talk to us about COVID lessons learned, and Matt Simpson, as chair of the personnel committee, certainly could look at no raises for non-union personnel. As we know the future of the county budget, we will expand the scope of items to be looked at and schedule a budget committee to look at more detail at the deficit reduction program. Work has been ongoing and will continue. I know several of you have ideas of your own ways that we can save money. If you have any specific ideas, savings, please send them to myself and the county administrator. And we do have a list of potential savings by department. I'm not going to go into the details today, but certainly in the future, we will share all this information with everyone. And as I said before, we don't know the impact of how it's going to affect Warren County. I've seen anywhere from 20% to 27% in lost revenues. Every day I read what's on the wires from NISAC. We glean what other counties are doing. Some of the items we may take up, some of the items we may not do. But we're our own county and we will stand, and we have a great team, and we have been working on this since the end of March. And like I said, at the proper time, we'll have a budget committee meeting once we find out the impact that this is going to have on our budget. I don't want to take any questions today, but if you have any ideas, I will ask Doug. Are you prepared to look at the departments for us, Dougie?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Madam Chairwoman, if you don't mind, I'd like to formally request that the Shared Services Committee, of which I chair, allow the county administrator to research whether there's potential savings to consolidate operations and save money by merging functions within departments, or maybe even merging departments. Obviously, we're in uncharted waters financially, and it only makes sense that we have to look at every single opportunity for merging, for consolidation. And I totally agree with Kevin Garrity and the budget director that this is the time that shared services must be 100% involved. And I'd like to allow Ryan Moore to go forward with the blessing from the Finance Committee in looking at these different consolidations and mergers. And as Mr. Garrity said, there is a list already we've put together of potential. We'll get that out to the full board for their thoughts. But really, this is the directive, I think that Ryan, being the expert with each and every department, needs a spearhead. So yes, shared services, Mr. Garrity will be 100% involved with looking at every opportunity.
Thanks, Doug.
You're
Thank you.
And is
Mr. Moore,
Rachel
did you,
to talk about COVID and lessons learned?
Yeah, hi, Kevin. Thank you. I had an opportunity to speak briefly with Ryan, but also with Kevin Garrity over the last few days, and Mike Swan, and I know Mike's on the call somewhere here, who gave me a nice 101 explanation of what was going on in terms of the projections for the budget for this year. And he did give credit, obviously, where credit's due, not only just to Kevin Garrity as the current budget officer, but to our chairman, Frank Thomas, who put the work in over the last many years and looking at projections and budgeting, so that 2020 is something that we're able to navigate, but going into 2021 being in a lot of uncharted waters. So one of the things that I know our county administrator's been working on, and I think all of us have collectively said, whether it be on the record or behind the scenes in discussions we've had with each other, is learning from the lessons of COVID and how we can not only look at this business recovery aspect and best practices, but also about technology and in different ways that we are looking at our departments in delivering services to our community. Both everything from Ben Driscoll's committees in terms of social services, and there's been incredible collaboration as it relates to food banks and working together to make sure those needs are met, but also taking a look at how can we continue with the technology improvements that we have been working so hard to make sure that we had infrastructure, starting both with YouTube and YouTube Live and now with Zoom, and being able to have that public participation. So I just wanted to make sure, there was an opportunity and appreciate the opportunity to even weigh in on this. As we start looking at reflecting on what's worked with COVID, we have Sarah in planning who has done a bang up job along with Don Lehman. And I think both of those positions have shown us when we we allow our experts in our departments to work as hard as they have, they step up to the plate and they deliver to the public a level of transparency that I'm not quite sure we've ever seen in Warren County. We're continuing to have public members weigh in. We've got a Facebook page now that is reaching thousands of people and email blasts, and have an opportunity to really provide information in the spirit of which it should be provided to the people paying the bills, and that is our taxpayer. So again, I think if Ryan could take an opportunity to look at different areas within COVID and those lessons learned about tech improvements or service deliveries, service suspensions, outsourcing, and an opportunity for all of us to really say, what's working, what isn't, and not to put, our heads back in the sand ever, to be able to work together and take a lot of these lessons learned. So I will definitely send something over both to Kevin and to Ryan, regarding some of those ideas. And Ryan and I spoke last week even about taking a look at resolutions that have passed the board, but perhaps we don't execute them. Maybe there's leftover dollars there. Maybe there's a different way to look at some of these departments and continue to ask those hard questions. So I appreciate the opportunity to weigh in, Kevin. And again, I'll send those comments over. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Matt, do you have anything to add from a personnel perspective? No? Well, that's, I always keep my reports short and sweet, but I just
Kevin, sorry, Kevin, I was on the other line. I'm sorry. I had a town call.
You should have a phone welded to your ear there.
I know, I got a lot going on here in town. No, I think, as personnel chair, we're going to look at every one of all the departments and all of our positions and just, make sure that all the departments have the resources they need to deal with this. And I also think that, you highlighted something that we're going to have to deal with, and that's raises, going forward. We're just not going to have the funds most likely in this upcoming year. So, no, we're going to be preparing on our end our recommendations and looking forward to working with you on this.
Thanks, Matt. I would just like to caution everybody that, these times are going to have impact on everybody. So we have to be very cautious and judicious about what information we're working on and how we handle it, because everybody's life has been impacted by this virus. And, it may seem like we're not doing a lot, but we are doing a lot. And we have been doing a lot. And our administrator, our chairman, they've just been working tirelessly at this. And please give us a little leeway here. We will come up with a good plan that will make you all proud. Hopefully it'll make you all proud, and will make the residents of Warren County proud in the future. I'm not a politician. I'm a get the job done type of person. We did this in 2008. It wasn't fun. Potentially we're going to have to do it again, but we will get through this. So please just work with us on this. And you've got a good staff. I applaud all the department heads and their financial people for what they've given us so far. And I'm sure you members of the board, you'll come up with some items and send them in writing. It's the best way. Send them in writing, my email or Ryan's email. And then we certainly will get the budget committee together to go through all this. But that's all I've got today, Edna.
Thank you, Kevin. Ryan, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I was just going to say I'd be happy to work with Doug on the shared services initiative, and the same with Rachel.
Well, I was sure that you would, so thank you. All right, is there anything else that we need to discuss at this point? If not, we're going to make a motion to adjourn. Doug, motion?
I'll
Second to the motion. Kevin, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You are adjourned. Thank you for all for taking part so early.